hopefully, forgot to get my mic over here when I was doing all of this. Still talking to the YouTube people. Anyways, happy you guys are having a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. We're going to be talking about a very tragic case. If y'all have been following me the last few days, I have made a TikTok video and I've talked about it at least once, maybe twice in one of these shows. And that is the case of 7-year-old Piper Elliott from Hendersonville, Tennessee. And if you're watching this and you're like, where have I heard of Hendersonville, Tennessee before? Well, it happens to be the same town that Sebastian Rogers went missing from. Before we get into this, I'm going to give you guys a warning that this is a very sensitive topic. It's a very disturbing topic. I know that on this channel, we talk about current events. We talk about true crime. And those of us who follow and listen to true crime, we know that things can get a little bit more toward the brutal side. As I was just telling people on TikTok a second ago, and I think I might even say it in the video that we're going to watch here in a minute, but the children's cases are harder for me to compartmentalize and really separate myself from, especially being a parent. And then there are certain children's cases that just really keep you up at night. For me, Audrey Cunningham was one of those. Madeline Soto is one of those. Baby Elena Hembry is one of those. And if you don't know baby Elena Hembry, you probably don't want to. It might be the most brutal case I've ever covered. Anyways, there are certain ones like that that just really are hard. And this one is right up there with them. And I went to the site today where she was murdered by her mother. And we're going to show you what that walk looks. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation about it and give you guys the backstory. Before I do, though, you guys know this is normally the part in the show where I introduce the books and as that's kind of like my advertising, whatever. And I normally play this fun music. I feel like this is a solemn discussion. And so I'm going to put the books up here for a second. I'm not going to play the music. And here's all I'm going to say to you. If you've been following this, you know what the books I've written are about. Okay. We have two, one called Boundaries. The other is called Surprises Are Okay, Secrets Are Not. The title should kind of give it away. If not, if you go to justinontiktok.com, you can click on the books and read their descriptions to learn about them. And you can purchase them there. You can purchase them through the TikTok shop through now until Sunday evening, Sunday at midnight, because I'll have to get the money to them at some point. Now until Sunday at midnight, 15% of the profits off the sale of these books are going to go to the family, go to the dad to help bury this little girl. And if you don't want to purchase the book, you can also get them, by the way, in a bundle. So that saves you a little bit of money in their hardcover or soft cover. They'll come signed. They come signed if you buy them through TikTok shop or through my website. You can also get them on Amazon, but the Amazon orders don't go directly through me. So that money doesn't go towards the family, or I can't sign them because, again, those come from, I think, bookstores. The other thing I'll say is if you don't need the books, but you still want to donate, I just did this a second ago. They need about $10,000 for the burial. This is a family that doesn't have that much money, really no money. Dad's in the hospital, which we'll talk about in a second. This is being organized by Kip Zymer, who is John Elliott, Piper's dad's best friend. And if you want to donate, you can go to my website, again, justinontiktok.com, and you can scroll down to the link section and you'll see the GoFundMe. And there's also, I think, his Cash App name if you'd rather do Cash App. But please help bury this little girl. And we're going to talk about the dad in this whole situation in a moment as well, as I give you guys the backstory, on this. So we're going to be talking about this little girl right here, 7-year-old Piper Elliott. Let me give you guys the backstory on this. So Piper, as I mentioned, her dad was in the hospital, or maybe I didn't mention that. And I'm just thinking back, because I've told a lot of times. Sorry, again, this case is very distressing. Piper's dad's in the hospital. Okay, the day that she passed away, he was in the critical care unit. He is in there for pancreatitis and hypertension. Now, I will tell you that her dad, John, is a combat wounded veteran. He lives off of a small disability stipend, and that's pretty much it. Piper had gone to visit her daddy in the hospital. She had brought him pictures that she had colored so that he could hang them up in his room and be a little bit more cheerful because, hospital rooms are not good. And she goes home. It's like any other day. Well, Piper's mom had other plans, I guess. Piper was apparently being, little kids. If y'all are parents, kids they can get on your nerves, right? Well, Piper apparently was being a little bit needy or whatever and wouldn't leave mom alone. Mom was having a rough day, as she said. needed some alone time. And Piper didn't want to stay inside they live in an apartment complex, didn't want to stay inside the apartment. She wanted to be outside, wouldn't leave her alone. And so the mom decided that the best way to get her time alone was to end Piper's life. What she did was right across from the apartment complex that they live in, there's a lake, Old Hickory Lake. And directly across, pretty much, there's a boat ramp. And it was said, it's been being reported that she took her across the street to the lake and held her head underwater until she was no longer breathing. And I thought, because I knew the area, because I live in this area, that they went directly across the street and it was right there. But no, it was not directly across the street. There is a lake directly across the street, but she went down the greenway, the walkway, and it was a good 10-minute walk by myself without having to drag a kid with me. So she had time to turn around and make a different decision. Plus, it takes about 6-ish or so minutes for somebody to no longer be alive by holding their head underwater like that. So she had enough time to turn around. And to me, the question becomes, is this premeditated? Is it premeditated? So let me kind of tell you guys a little bit more about these last few pieces of bits of time before we kind of get into the video. Well, you know what? I'll show you all the video first. And so you guys can get an idea of the walkway and things like that. And then we'll talk about kind of what happened, the witnesses who saw things, their statements, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on for you guys and have a listen. Tennessee, at an apartment complex. A lot of y'all know that I have been talking about a story about a little 7-year-old girl named Piper Elliott. To give you a little bit of backstory in case you don't know, Piper Elliott was 7 years old. She lived where I'm at right now. Her dad, the day that she died, was in the hospital, is still in the hospital, but he was in the critical care unit. She had gone to visit him at the hospital, bringing him a bunch of pictures out of a coloring book so he could hang them on his hospital wall. Now, Dad's in the hospital for pancreatitis and hypertension. And again, he was in a critical care unit at the time. He has since been moved to a regular room. He will be there probably for a few more weeks. But what ends up happening a few hours later is Piper and Mom come home. The mom is having a rough day. Her name is Brandy Elliott, is having a rough day. All right. And she tells Piper that she needs to be quiet, needs to leave her alone. Piper doesn't want to stay inside the apartment. She wants to come out. And so Brandy ultimately says that if she's not going to give me the quiet that I want, I'm going to take it anyways. And as the story goes, she drug her from this apartment complex to the lake and held her underwater till she was no longer breathing. Now, initially, because I know this area, I live in this area too, and consequently it's the same area that Sebastian Rogers is missing from. But I thought, because the lake is right there, that she just drug her from this apartment complex and took her to the lake right there. But I was wrong. I was initially thinking that maybe she just snapped. She had a moment with everything going on and snapped. But no, and we're going to take this walk. So this right here, this particular building, somewhere along here, probably toward the back, or that building over there in the back, but toward the front is where they lived. Okay, and as you can see, the lake is right there. But she didn't just take her across the lake. She took her to a place where nobody would see. So I don't know exactly where she drug her across the street and began walking, but there is a greenway, a nature trail here. And we're going to take that walk right now because I want you all to see this, that this quote-unquote mother decided to take her kid. She had plenty of time to turn around, plenty of time to make a different decision. And again, I don't know if she walked up this side, but it doesn't matter. Once we get to the boat launch, the boat ramp, you'll see how far we had to go. Now again, this was a 7-year-old girl. She had just saw her dad. Now her dad also, I will tell you, is a combat veteran. He was wounded. He's on a small disability check. So there is a GoFundMe to try to raise money to help pay for Piper's final expenses and her funeral. Mom has been charged with first-degree murder and is being held. But she had to walk all the way across here. And we're just going to keep going and we'll talk about it. But she's being held for first-degree murder. But by now is enough time for your anger from where I was standing to here, and I think she looked further back, to make the decision to not go through with what she did. And if you're watching this on YouTube or something later, you can do it on times too. It's a bit of a hike, not gonna lie. I didn't clock it exactly. I'll try to on my way out, but I want to say it's probably at least a quarter of a mile, maybe third, possibly half. but let's just take a walk. So this is a new greenway that they just built in Hendersonville. It's a walking trail. It's fairly new. You can tell by the, the sidewalk's not even that dirty yet. And you'll see that when we get to the bridge too. So she dragged 7-year-old Piper from here because she wants some peace and quiet. And I'm gonna warn you guys, I've done this walk already because I had to see exactly where it is. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, it is gut-wrenching. I'm very much struggling with this case. The case is about children, or something that are very hard for me to compartmentalize and separate from. And certain children's cases are worse than others, and this to me is one of the ones. There's a handful that are worse than others that just stay with you, that keep you up at night. And this is one of them. Because my understanding is, for you to end somebody's life the way that she did, you have about 6-ish minutes to change your mind. 6-ish minutes. Plus you had this entire walk that we have going. And it's a beautiful walk. And I don't know what was going through Piper's mind, how fast she was being drugged. But there were people on this walking trail this day that passed them. And those witnesses report saying that the mom was trying to hide her. They were like, they didn't think they thought something was weird, whatever the case. And when they came back around, well, we'll wait to tell you that story when we get there. Here's the lake, beautiful area. Like I said, it's a long walk. She's angry. She's made this decision. To me, this screams premeditated. Because this isn't going across the street. Because she snapped and putting her head in a lake. And then waiting the 6 minutes for her to drown. This is this long walk. Plenty of time to change your mind. Plenty of time to make a different decision. To make a better choice. This video is right at 6 minutes in. And I know that part of it I was talking before we were walking, but we're still walking. I'll show you the area. You can't even see the apartments anymore from where we're at. You can kind of see, no, you can't even see where the driveway is. So this is how far this one ran, and I think that this is important for y'all to know this. Now I will say this. For anybody watching this, if you'd like to help, there is a GoFundMe that was not set up by me. I don't set up GoFundMes. I will never ask y'all for money on anything that I really organize, donation-wise at least. But if you go to justinontiktok.com, which is my website, and you scroll down to the link section, the very top link you will see the Piper Elliott Funeral Fund. I forget exactly how I worded it, but that was set up by John Elliott, Piper's father's best friend. And you can donate to that if you choose to. Again, combat disabled veteran, currently in the hospital trying to deal with the death of his daughter now, while trying to get better, while already being sick, trying to navigate all of this, and they don't have very much money. He lives off a very small Social Security check. The other thing, if you want to do this, you're welcome to as well. A lot of y'all know, if you watch my live streams, that I sell. I've written 2 books and I sell those books. And if you order them, what's today? Today's the 17th. I'll put this all the way through Friday in case some of y'all see this later. Hell, I'll do it all the way through Monday, through the weekend, through Sunday night. Anybody who buys any books, 15% of all profits will go to this family. I'm not going to put them in the GoFundMe because GoFundMe takes 50%, but I will directly. I have their Venmo or Cash App. It's on the GoFundMe page, which, by the way, yeah, you can also GoFundMe page, scroll down the bottom and see their Cash App. But yeah, you can do that too. And if you want to purchase the books, I'll sign them, hardcover, softcover, bundles, whatever, and we'll donate 15% of the profits towards this. I've also been in touch with one of the funeral homes who's been wonderful, or talking to one of them and trying to help. But y'all, we're getting very close here. This is the end of the trail as we're coming towards it, towards at least the end of the bridge. And you're gonna see coming up here in a minute. And this is gut-wrenching. I haven't even been able to walk all the way down here. I had to see where it was so that I could take you guys.
But again, we are now 8.5 minutes into this video. She's had all of this time to stop, to turn around, to change her mind. We're right here. Y'all, this is hard, not gonna lie. Some of these are challenging. You can see. So that's where it happened. When I come back, I think I'm gonna bring some flowers. But this is where it happened. Her mother took her here. Held her underneath the water. Held her head underneath the water till bubbles stopped, while screaming at her to shut up. Seven years old. My daughter has that same mini. 7 years old. Just a little girl. Anyways, I wanted to show y'all this walk. I wanted you guys to get an idea of just how far this woman had to drag her 7-year-old child. And when she got here, I told you I'd tell you all about this, there were people walking the trail, as there are now. And when those people came back, Piper was gone. When she was there the first time, they passed her the first time, they thought, they saw that she was trying to hide her, they thought something was weird. And when they came back, they saw her body, and the mom was doing absolutely nothing. She didn't call 911. She didn't try to resuscitate. These strangers did, with a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old kid with them. They tried to resuscitate this child. And I'm not going to read y'all their statements or tell y'all about their statements on this video. We can do that separately. But it is just gut-wrenching. Absolutely horrific. Anyways, thank y'all for watching, and please do consider giving to their GoFundMe.
So there you go. It was tough, guys. It was a tough walk. It was a long walk. It was hot. And that's how long it took me by myself, with a pretty, I would say, brisk stride. I mean, I didn't take my time, and it was tough. It was really tough to get there. So in hindsight, I probably should have done that in landscape mode, but nevertheless. So here's what happened, because a lot of y'all are asking questions about the witnesses. Did anybody see this? So when you saw the trail, if you watched the YouTube video, if you didn't watch the YouTube video, you're welcome to jump over any time. And the great thing about YouTube is you can rewind all the way back. So if you're coming in late, you can recap that way. That's for TikTok peeps. You can go back and watch from YouTube at any point in time. You can rewind it from a live or go all the way back. Nevertheless, so it's a walking trail, and a little bit past where Piper's body was, the trail ends and people turn back around. Okay. So what happened was this couple, and we're going to talk about them in a second. Let me get Piper pulled back up here. Saw what was happening. And they saw the two together, and they said that it appeared, and I'll read their statements in a second, but they said that basically, let's get to their statements. That way I can pull it up and just show you directly, and I won't even have to describe it. Before I get into that, though, this is the mother. This is 33-year-old Brandy Elliott. Now, here's some information that y'all need to know about Brandy Elliott. Okay, so Brandy is married to John, so they are together. Piper's parents. As I mentioned, John is in the hospital currently trying to navigate this while trying to fight for his life, hypertension and pancreatitis in the critical care unit, to now this, that he's got a battle. He's got a battle ahead of him. Now, in court, what she told the judge was that Piper would not give her what she wanted, time alone. And since she wouldn't, that she would give her what she wanted. And that's when Brandy reportedly held Piper's head under the water until she felt bubbling. She described as holding her down like a largemouth bass. She was reportedly told the trial to be quiet while she held her under the water, and she has been charged with first-degree murder, and she could be facing the death penalty in Tennessee. Now, Brandy also told the judge, and this I believe was today, that she was not currently under the care of a mental health professional, but had been previously diagnosed with postpartum depression after Piper had turned 2. Now, when Piper turned 2, she apparently tried to do something like this before, that it had gotten out of control like last time. She had done something like this before. She told the judge that. At this point, neither the state or her attorney are requesting a mental evaluation, at least not at Tuesday's hearing. They said they didn't want one at this time. She also told the judge that her husband was living with a disability, and then she began crying. She's got no other criminal record. This is her first offense, and she works at McDonald's, I believe, in Hendersonville. So that's what I can tell you about the mom. She is being held with her bond hearing. She does have no bond. She was denied any type of bond. Not that I think she could have afforded it had she been granted it anyways. Just to be frank with you. So going back, the people who were down the trail, they didn't know what was going on. The average person is not going to know or is going to think, hey, this person's about to murder their child. Oftentimes, if you see a parent frustrated with their kid, you're like, man, that parent's frustrated with their kid. So the people who are walking, it was 4 people. I think boyfriend, I don't know if it was a boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife. I think boyfriend and girlfriend, and then their daughter, a daughter and daughter's boyfriend, so a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. When they came back around, that is when they saw Piper's lifeless body, and they are the ones who began working on her with CPR and trying to revive her. They worked on her for about 20 minutes. This right here, guys, if you didn't see it, I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller so y'all can see it better. This is the site. Y'all saw it in the video, but this is the site. A lot of stuffies, flowers, things that people have written. I mean, it was hard, guys, being there. And I'm probably going to end up going back out there, but the story needs awareness, and that sometimes we just got to push through it and do it. So I'm going to read you the statement first. Okay, so this statement came from, I guess, Piper's half-brother, who's a Golder. I believe that he is the dad's kid. But here's what he said. This is Hunter Elliott. And then we're getting to the statements of the witnesses. One day ago, this woman I once saw as a mother committed an unforgivable act. Piper K. Elliott, my sister, was 7 years old and killed in a duck pond off the Sanders Ferry Road in Hendersonville, Tennessee. This little girl was full of love, laughter, and joy, as she could never deserve an act as disgusting as the one placed on her. This post is not to attract any pity nor praise, but to attract prayers and thoughts for my father and our family. Dad is in the hospital at the moment with hypertension and pancreatitis, as he is getting better and should make a return home here in the next couple weeks. It aches to even think about the pain he is going through, not being able to be home throughout this entire situation. Now I'm going to tell you guys to brace yourself for this next part. Okay, so Matthew Stinson is one of the people who worked on Piper. He was one of the witnesses there. And here's what it says. Hashtag justice for Piper. How TF could you kill your beautiful little daughter? You told her, hold on. She knew what you were planning. She knew what you were and had been planning to do to her. You told her to be quiet so no one would hear. I'm trying to read something here. Sorry. As we walked by y'all, the last persons to see her alive, you avoided us by keeping her mouth shut as you planned the most evil, effed up thing you could think to do to your child. You held her under that nasty ass water alone until she was gone. Then you left her alone on that dark walking path for us to find her. You said you tried to revive her. You're a damn liar. I worked on that poor innocent child for 20 minutes till I was soaked in sweat and arms hurting. Every time I breathed air into her lungs, the amount of water coming out of her was unreal. You stood there as Heather was trying her hardest to call 911 and get them to that spot, and you did nothing. You made the kids with us witness your horrible act on your own daughter. You left us all effing broken from having to see that. Something that will never go away. Brandy Elliott, I know prison, and I know prison justice will catch you when you least expect it. Piper, I'm so sorry we weren't there sooner for you, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. The mother that you loved that took your life. We love you, sweet girl, and we'll never forget you. We stayed at your side, sweetheart, till the end. 100. Fly high, sweet angel. So that was the one of the witnesses, and I'm going to read you all the other witness statement now. Again, this is hard, guys, so let me get it pulled up for y'all to see it. Here's what this one says. To know what I know now, hashtag justice for Piper. If only we could have gotten to you maybe 5 minutes sooner. I knew something wasn't right the first time we passed y'all on the walkway. Brandy literally tried to hide you from us, like y'all weren't standing right in front of us. Little did we know what we would be walking back into. Brandy Elliott, you left your daughter there for dead. I'll never forget how you approached us, and I don't care what you say, you didn't try to help your child in any way. You told Piper to be quiet while you held her under the water. You knew we would see her lifeless body that you just left there all alone. You're an evil ass bee. You had no emotion whatsoever, not one single tear for your daughter you had just killed. You acted like you didn't give a F the whole time we were trying to help her. Brandy, you even made some side-ass comments to my 14-year-old, but I didn't know that until after the fact. When they were carrying Piper away and something came over me to beat your ass, luckily Matt grabbed me when he did because I was having bad thoughts running through my head. For Piper, Matthew Stinson and I tried everything possible to bring you back. Matthew worked on your sweet little body for 20 minutes while I was on the call with 911. I'll never forget what you looked like just laying there all black and blue, stomach full of water, so lifeless. My baby girl who's 14 and her boyfriend 16 had to see you like that as well. We all went into panic mode as soon as we saw you laying there. Even though we all knew it was too late, we still tried our damnedest. I'll never be able to get that night out of my head. It just replays over and over. You see what I'm saying, guys? This case, this one's gotten me, and this one's bad. And I need everybody to be aware of this case. I need this dad to get the help that he should have for this sweet little girl. So if you have the means, if you want to purchase a book, obviously I'll sign it, and 15% of the profits will go towards that, or you can donate directly to the GoFundMe or directly to their Cash App. You can get to that by going to the GoFundMe link, which is on my website, scrolling down to the link section. And clicking the GoFundMe. And if you read the entire GoFundMe thing, you'll see at the bottom where the Cash App is if you want, because GoFundMe, takes 50%. So yeah. But my understanding, there's no remorse. She apparently might have tried to do this when she was 2. When the daughter was 2, that's what she told the judge. And she here's where I really struggle with this, guys. That is a horrible way to go. And when you're choosing to end somebody's life in that way, it takes about 6 minutes. You saw how long that walk was. And I started that walk closer than they did. So you could probably add 2 to 3 minutes from where they lived, at least, on that walk. And again, I was doing it by myself at a fairly brisk pace. They weren't. There's no way. So at least 10 minutes, probably closer to 20 to get where I was, to get to that site. And then after that, she had roughly 30 minutes to change her mind and not make this and choose to not do this. But she didn't. And when you think about going that way, being held under, completely helpless, gasping for air underwater, my heart is just like, I'm gutted by this entire thing. Somebody just asked what name the GoFundMe is in. So the GoFundMe is in the name. I'll put it back up here. It's this one right here. It's in the name of Kip Zymer. That is John's best friend. He is legitimate. This is a legit GoFundMe. I'm just absolutely destroyed by this story, especially that it was in my own community. So I want y'all to have awareness of this, and help out if you're able to help out. Because it's a tough one. 7-year-old child, 7 years old, the person who she relied on most to keep her safe. Anyways, I just don't understand. Story about me real quick. Not everybody should have kids, and there's a lot of people who will be aware of this. So with my own daughter, we had a pregnancy loss prior to Victoria. Victoria's a rainbow baby, and Victoria was born at 29 weeks and 3 days and was in the NICU for 43 days. The baby before her was a very wanted child. Victoria is a very wanted child, and I just don't understand, when you have the gift of having children, how you could do something like that. We fought hard to get our kid. We fought hard to get her here and make sure, and she fought hard, to live through it. That's why her name is Victoria, because she was a victory for us and for herself. And it really pains me with things like this, because I just don't understand, when there are so many people that could have loved that child. Anyways, so please keep this story going. Please share it out there. I do have a video on TikTok about this. I believe I have one here on YouTube. I know I have one on Instagram. Please share this story. Get it out. There's not a lot of coverage on it. In fact, as far as I can tell, I think that I might be the only social media creator that's talking about this story, and I really don't understand why, because this one should be plastered everywhere. Everybody needs to know this story. It's a terrible story, but the awareness around it needs to be there. So engage with this when you see it. And again, like I said, go if you're able to afford to buy the books. I'll give 15% of the profits. Give directly to the GoFundMe or to their Cash App. That's awesome. If you can't afford to give financially, that's okay. Don't feel obligated. Liking and sharing and commenting on the videos you see about it help as well. Sandra's asked, could people donate to the funeral also? So that's what this is. That's what this is for right here. Let me get this pulled back up for you. This is basically for her funeral expenses right here. This is to help pay for the funeral expenses if you read it. Because they don't have that much. And I do know this. I will say this. I've spoken to a funeral home in this area. They're trying to work with the family and the friends and whatever. They're gonna make a beautiful service happen. Regardless, they're gonna work with what best they can. They're gonna work with, but the family still doesn't have very much money. People will donate to the funeral home. That's a great question, Sandra. Let me find out. I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem, but I can find that out. It's a good question. I'll find that out for you guys. Anyways, absolutely tragic. That being said, I want this live stream to be strictly about Piper. I think that she deserves that. I think that, all these kids kind of deserve it. I think tomorrow we're going to probably do one on Aubrey Wyatt. It'll be just Aubrey, because there's going to be a court date tomorrow. There's been a lot of updates, a lot of developments in that case. So we'll probably do that tomorrow as well. And for anybody, because I see the comments coming in on both YouTube and on TikTok, for anybody who wants to recap or see this stream if you missed it, because this one is on YouTube, you are able to rewind it all the way to the beginning. It will be saved after I sign off. So you can go back and watch it at your leisure, at your pace, and see the entire story, see the walk, in case you came in late and you missed it. And I would encourage you to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the moment, and we will be back tomorrow. I'll probably be back on TikTok later today, maybe this evening, with some more videos. And we will see you guys soon. Thank you for listening to the story. I know this is a tough one. Have a good one.